Classic Game Room is back with our first review of the second season, Rocket Knight Adventures for the Sega Genesis. Now, this was a game that came out in the early 90s, I believe it was 93, and it was easily overlooked by a lot of people as being nothing more than a Sonic the Hedgehog clone. It I couldn't feel any more strongly against that whole notion because this is arguably one of the best games, if not the best game of all time. The storyline of the game is you're just this possum, the Rocket Knight Sparkster, who has the blue armor that you see and a rocket pack strapped to his back. Now, one of the neat things about the game is the play mechanic of the rocket pack. As you can see, you have a meter at the top of the screen that when you hold down the attack button, which is either A or C on your Sega Genesis gamepad, it charges up the meter. You get that little blinking and beeping sound there, and you've got yourself a little rocket, as you can see. And, you know, Sparkster is your typical knight. He's got his sword and everything, and having the rocket pack really adds to a little bit of depth to the gameplay. So it's not just a basic side-scrolling hack and slash adventure. The bosses, the mid bosses and the actual big bosses are some of the more creative ones that I've seen in a side scroller. There's no shortage of bosses to go after in this game. And one of the biggest things that absolute masterful soundtrack that it has, there's a song that fits absolutely every single level in this game. And other than maybe the Sonic series, I haven't really found a series of games that had as much good music as this. Although the original Mario Brothers and Mario Brothers 2 had some good stuff. But that's besides the point. Anyways, as you can see here, this is another variation on what you can do in the game. There are some levels where you're actually flying like this from the start of the level all the way to the end. And it's a little bit of a different challenge because rather than just moving left and right, you're moving up and down, and you have to dodge stuff. Now here's one of the first bosses. As you can see, it's mechanical for whatever reason. Everything in the game is either a pig or it's a robot. I guess they were eating bacon and were playing around with one of those little toy robots or something and figured, we should make a game featuring robots and pigs as the enemies. And you know what? It worked because this is a really fun game. And it's kind of hard to do an objective review on this without injecting, my own personal commentary on it because, as I said, this really is one of my absolute favorite games. And as far as games on the Genesis, this is, the epitome of how games should be. The animation's great, the graphics are good, there's a lot of great, animation and characterization within the character of a Sparkster. The sound design is great. The level of difficulty of each level is actually perfect. Some levels can be frustrating, some of them not so much, because you get better as you play it. It's almost like the God of War series. It's a hard game, but as you play it more and more, you get better and better at it, and you're better for it. And here's one of the little cutscenes that are splattered throughout the game. And Sparkster just got thrown off on the beaten path there. And then you have these neat little stage intros, which are actually different than what are on the European and the Japanese versions. On those versions, you actually get a little. You actually see the band that's playing the music. A little band of possums playing the instruments and everything. This is another one of those mini bosses. the game is just loaded with them, and half the battle is actually trying to figure out, you know, the timing of reflecting these little bombs back at this little guy. This game is just loaded for bear with so many fun elements. Here's another example of the flying level. This one is typical Konami style. You know, you just have tons of stuff that you need to take care of. You know that it's just it never almost a seemingly never-ending supply of enemies coming at you, and you know it's enough to drive you nuts. And you know you have these missiles they're shooting up at you. Like apparently they must have homing rockets for possums or something, because they, as you can see, they're pretty good at almost hitting Sparkster there. And then, you know, after this little volley, wait until you see what comes up. You think it's done? You think it's done? No, it's not done. Of course not. The pigs have another machine up their alley. This time they're gonna try and shoot you. Once again, this is just pure genius. The level designers really did a hell of a job on this game. I sound like a broken record because I really cannot say enough good stuff about this game. I know that the second one, Sparkster, for the Genesis, wasn't nearly as good. That's another one that I intend to review sometime in the near future. And eventually, when I get my hands on an SNES, I'm going to do a review of Sparkster for the SNES. That version's a little bit rarer to obtain, but, you know, it's also looks like it's a load of fun. Now, I'm sure, as you all know, Sparkster's coming back later on this year in the form of a downloadable 2.5D game on PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, and I think WiiWare, too. So we have that to look forward to. But, you know, in the meantime, I think we should just kind of watch me get positively owned by Sparkster's rival, Axel Gear. And, you know, once again, thanks for watching. I apologize for the length of time that it took me to get this review up. There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on, so enjoy the rest of the video, and more reviews to come.